You know, life is just ain't how I see it. Like I see it from everybody's point of view.
Before I lived in China 10 years. 10 years, we have a lot of friends. Every day together, drink the tea, talk, like to drink beer, same.
Yeah.
So very fun.
So nice.
So I like the tea. Very good for body.
It is.
Good for body.
Every day I drink tea. It is very good. Like you drink beer, same. Somebody drink beer, we drink tea. We use tea to clean table. You know that?
No.
When I was in waiter, the old time, right? They don't have detergents, and then we clean up the table. We pour back the tea the customer finish, pour on the table, and we use the tea on the table very clean.
This area, in some ways, maybe even hidden, it's a red light district. It's been that type of culture for so long that some of the Johns still continue to come to the area to pull on doors that are no longer massage parlors. And, it's no longer a massage parlor? No, it's not. It's now an apartment building. It's no longer, now it's a sex offenders program.
Well, when I first moved in, there weren't that many people walking around, so I was kind of here to be more anonymous. I kind of liked only having like one or two neighbors really that were on the block, and then they built a high-rise, and now there's like tons of people walking around, so it's a little different now.
All right, let me know when you're ready.
Okay, really.
I'm hesitant to say I belong to a certain place or that I own a certain place that I'm not of specifically, because Philadelphia is such a provincial place and it has such a long history, and the history has such a long tail that I'll never be from anywhere but from North Philly when it comes right down to it, because that's where I grew up. But I feel really comfortable here because, unlike a lot of other neighborhoods that are in Philly right now, it's not branded, it doesn't have a name, it's really diverse but without imposing. It's a characteristic, just something that happens to be, and that's nice. It just feels real.
I kind of like the idea. Whenever I describe where I live right now, I say I'm in a place that doesn't have a name yet. The fact that it's kind of spontaneous and it's just like people who are together that happen to live in peace and be from a lot of different places is enough without it having to be as defined as a lot of other neighborhoods in Philly are.
You are with you wherever you go, and there's certain changes you have to make within yourself. Otherwise, you're going to take some of the same characteristics and attitude and behavior patterns with you from New York to Philly, or from Philly to, or Jersey to Philly, or from, Boston to Philly. It's the same you, and if you don't change, then there's not going to be any change. You've just transitioned, but there was no real transformation. So.
I just buried a guy that was in the program a week ago, and I just found out that a guy who graduated got killed in a drug deal gone bad. That's another aspect of this community. There are a lot of short lifespans.
I don't want to say to myself that I'm a failure, you know what I mean? I got to start all over again, find myself new, fresh, you know what I mean? Even though I might not smell fresh or, look fresh, but to me, myself is my inner side, my soul, my love, and to live for life. You know what I mean? That's how I see it. You know what I mean? It's a struggle. You know what I mean? Either way I go, am I going to let myself die, or I'm going to pick myself up and dust myself off? You know what I mean? It takes time. You know what I mean? Either way it goes. You know what I mean? Especially if you start from nothing.
I think a lot of people are just passing through there sometimes, but there are people who live in the area, obviously. But I think a lot of people just kind of find solace in their own apartments. Maybe that's something that we have in common.
Washington Square. There's a square, but then there's apartments down there. Rittenhouse Square. With Chinatown, they're like it is. They think it's just restaurants or bars, and then you're like, what do you live here? So I think that's the one thing people really don't get, and still they don't get.
A lot of people come here to eat, but I don't think people know that people live here. To this day, people are like, you live in Chinatown where? Like, do you live above a restaurant? And you see all these condos, but a lot of people who live there aren't Chinese. French cuisine is expensive. Why is it that Chinese is lower priced? Why is Chinese food always priced lowball? And how do you get around it?
If you dropped me in a parachute anywhere in America, by the time the sun went down, I'd find the people who were the underdogs and marginalized. I'd be with them. And that could be when I was younger, went to private school in Princeton. I was like the ostracized one, the other one that didn't fit in. So I get that when you feel that way, it's important to have people in your corner. We could do this together, usually in situations that are impossible. That's where I fit. That's what gets me up and gets me going.